Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons and Dummies, a weekly podcast following four friends as they battle across a homebrewed world called Antiriath in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Step into our mystical world called Antiriath and follow our party of three dummies as they adventure across the lands. Talik Grug, half-orc, half-mystery, the fighter, played by Taylor. Bodyknock Greenleaf, the halfling rogue with a penchant for taking things that don't belong to him, played by Josh. And the ever-mysterious Eclarian Shadow, half-elf ranger from the Eclarian Mountains, played by Seth. And last but not least, the creator of our beautiful world, the man of many voices, and our dungeon master, Sam.
Welcome to the Dungeons and Dragons and Dummies podcast, where we have our AI's babies.
Oh my, without context, that will be strange, but I'm going to leave it in.
Oh man, so we were kind of starting. Taylor had a really cool idea the other day. Now that we've completed book one and defeated the druid and kind of got to a major milestone in the campaign, as it were, to kind of take a trip down memory lane. And I think that's an awesome idea. Let's go all the way back to before we even started recording. All the way back to y'all show up at the guild, y'all all have your various reasons to be here, and start taking some little bounties, and first thing, y'all deal with a bunch of cockatrices eating chickens.
Yep.
So y'all got thrown straight into the shit, right? Like paralyzing, stone-causing monsters on y'all's first outing.
Cocks and caves.
Oh,
and
man.
I think we crushed them faster, maybe even than you thought, Sam.
Yeah.
We one-shot at all of them. Nobody got petrified.
Yeah, right out I think like one or two people got hit, and everybody made their saves. Nobody got petrified. So right out the gate, I was like, "Oh, this is a very high damage party." And
yeah,
that has proved to maintain reality.
Yeah, I've got some lines here in my notes. One line says, Talik dominates the cock with his greatsword and the bounty is complete.
That's great. Yeah, I remember I tried to intimidate the farmer guy, and he was like not phased, but then I am the one, my dumb ass investigated and figured out it was cockatrices.
Oh, yeah. Everybody like made a check based on y'all gathered up. Yeah, we had a whole little espionage thing, and there was like mechanics to it. And y'all had a good bit of information. The check was pretty easy, and the other guys rolled like 2s, and then you actually rolled pretty well. And
yeah,
Talik says cockatrice bones are too hard.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you were picking your teeth with
the recap.
Petrified cockatrice bone. That's great.
Yeah, and I should mention that we all three started at level 1. Which I think a lot of podcasts don't do that. And we all started at level 1. I was a fighter. Seth, Shadow was the ranger, and then Bodyknock as the thief rogue. So we were just straight up level 1.
Turns out like I incidentally created a character with a fucking cloak of invisibility.
Yeah.
Right.
A sniper.
Yeah,
well, he's a sniper now.
I didn't even know what I was really trying to go for with a play style. It just happened to I tripped into an OP character for most of the time.
It is, the sneak attack damage is pretty OP, and
it's OP in terms of I don't get touched. Like
exactly, yeah.
Like I think I was close to death maybe one time that entire.
I think that's kind of the idea with the rogue, is that you don't get touched much, because even the like up close ones, you can disengage, you can, all that kind of stuff. It's great.
Just for the listeners, I think this is fine to share. Taylor can remove it if he wants.
Oh, no. I'm sure.
But, so today is June 5th of 2023. Our first session was July 14th of 2022. So we're almost 12 whole months into our into our campaign, and we've only finished book 1, so much more to come.
So 6 years. Buckle up, buckos.
Yeah.
No,
but sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it is interesting that we we didn't have any build up. We weren't even going to do a podcast, I should say, since this is a long recap. Session 3, I was like, hey, I'm going to record it. Maybe we'll make it into a podcast. At the very least, it'll serve as a journal for us. We could go back and listen to it, but people have listened, so it's awesome.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying it. I know I was definitely hesitant. I've a previous game that I DM'd that we actually recorded. Everybody recorded their screen and their audio and all sent it to one person, and I think he published the first episode and never did it. So kudos to you, Taylor, for sticking with the editing. I know it's a lot of
thanks. I'm enjoying it.
Labor.
My OCD tends to help me with editing and also obsessively checking our listens and views like a psychopath. So if you're listening and you've listened, just know I check it 100 times a day because I'm crazy, but it's been really fun.
It is fun to see. I'm glad I don't check it incessantly and I just get updates on milestones when we get to a new milestone. yeah. But yeah, so basically the way the campaign started is we were just doing guild quests. I mean, Seth had played a little bit of one campaign. The other two of you guys had never played any. So I was like, let's just get our feet wet before we start trying to weave a narrative. But even in that, y'all ran into the druid during one of y'all's early quests. That was actually session 1 on the way to get your speak scroll and stuff.
Yeah. So session 1, we had met with Eva in the dining hall at the Confluence Guild and met Bushy Evermead, and we literally were headed to talk to Ossios Maldorn to get our writ, and that's when we encountered some wolves that were doing some weird stuff with some sleeping spores, and it was the one time that I could have avoided being rendered unconscious by magic.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
We didn't even know enough to realize
too big of noobs. Yeah.
That I couldn't actually be rendered unconscious.
And that was our first taste of the unstable evolution, the corrupted animals. And I loved the druid. I thought the druid was super cool.
Yeah, and the druid comes in, and that's literally the 7th line of the first page of my notes. So
is the druid showing up?
The wolves coming in, and
the wolves.
Also,
yeah. Then you probably have a page of notes for the fight.
Back then he was just a strange guy that was investigating, and he was cool.
Yeah.
Mystical.
Turns out he was kind of a dick.
Exactly.
turns out he was a bit of a elitist in a weird animalistic way.
But you know what? In our defense or his defense, he may not have been a dick at that time because it seems like he was corrupted over time. Maybe we don't know yet, but
that's what I think.
That's kind of my working theory.
I think that he was genuinely investigating the animals out of concern at that point.
You know what? Mental illness is no excuse for being an asshole.
Now he's dead.
now it's problem solved, right? Y'all helped Ostius get rid of a bunch of
iron-toothed rats.
Yeah.
That's right.
They had drill bits, like an oil rig drill bit for mouths.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's horrific. I climbed up on a shelf and trapped one under a pot.
And so that was the writ was just to even get in the guild kind of.
I think y'all got your writ from Bushi, and you had to go to the next town over to Premern to a legit magic item shop to get your speak scroll and your wayfinder.
That's right.
Your speak scroll case and your wayfinder.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the writ was what you used up until that point. But now at this point, the wayfinder is really your you present that, and it's got the symbol of the confluence on it, and that is what shows you as a member of the guild.
Yeah, I just have a note. We didn't know what the druid was. I just have a note that says Tree Man next to a weird picture.
Tree Man?
Yeah, it was like a guy with antlers.
Yeah.
And a beard. Tree Man. That's great.
And then we run into the weird Talk Jocko.
The Talk Jocko. Oh yeah, that was after y'all. That was on y'all's next guild quest.
That's right.
And then Harv Holfed was the dead guy.
The dead guy.
Let's get into that one because that's when the podcast started, and that was really our first like multi-session thing.
Yeah,
that we did.
Big quest.
So we accepted a bounty to retrieve a widow's husband's corpse at 12 Pleasant View Blue Rooftop is where we have to go talk to her. And she says that her husband, Harv Holfed, worked at for Albud Robinson at the Rusty Tooth Mill. And so we head over to the Rusty Tooth Mill by ferry and talk to Albud. And I'm trying to remember where that was, what city that was in.
Albud, the mill is just south of Bilyutok, and it employs like a significant number of people. I've actually got in my notes here. The mill employs over 50 people. Like it's a big part of Bilyutok's, activity.
Economy.
This big. It's a big sawmill down on the river. It's got multiple saws as part of the setup, and they make a ton of lumber off of the foothills of the Copperstone Mountains.
That's right.
And then they ship them down the river.
So yeah, that's where we found a young floor sweeper named Marvin, who's a human who had heard of the Eclarian Shadow, and we got a little bit of story from him, and that's when we set off on our adventure to look for Harv Holfed and got some more information that maybe he wasn't so innocent.
Yeah, y'all got some info that he kept playing hooky.
Kept playing hooky from work.
But he was telling his wife that he was going on ferry runs, that he was going down the river. So it was like nobody actually knew where he was going every month.
Yep, that's right. And turns out he was going up to some creepy cabin, the side of the hills.
Because he was a fucking werewolf.
to have his monthly werewolf fit in peace.
Yeah.
Yep. So we ended up fighting an actual werewolf and probably 10 or so werewolf cultists.
Yeah, but that gets back to before you got there, that gets back to what started this, what Seth was saying, the Talk Jocko. Harv's body had been left at the end with a note from a Talk Jocko, which is basically a knight from the Osageski region. He's a holy crusader, if you will, basically a missionary who goes around helping people.
Samurai do-gooder is what my notes say.
Samurai do-gooder. And y'all have been obsessed with Osageski ever since.
Yeah, we want to go.
We got to get out there and meet these where's these Talk Jockos coming from?
So he had left a note and a silver dagger.
And he had cast Gentle Repose on Harv. So we just left Harv there. All right. Hang tight, Harv.
Oh, and that's where
he's
y'all
dead,
met.
by the way.
Yeah. That's where y'all met the innkeeper. And she was like, "What? You can't just leave this guy here?"
Heathertone.
Yeah, Aubrey Heathertone.
But yeah, that's where we met Aubrey.
Aubrey Heathertone. And y'all ended up going by her place many more times throughout the quest.
Yeah, we ended up having to save her. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So
we killed the werewolf and took Harv's body back to his widow, told her that he was a fucking werewolf. None of us got cursed in that fight.
Yeah, y'all got bit up several times and just kept making your saves.
I got saved a lot against that one.
Yeah.
My notes say the tattooed man comes out and transforms into a fucking werewolf.
Yeah, that was great.
Were y'all level 3 at that point?
Yeah, I think so. 2 or 3, maybe 2.
I think y'all were still level 2.
That was session 3.
Yeah, I think y'all were still level 2. Pretty terrifying, get a werewolf thrown at you at level 2. And my werewolf is actually buffed a little bit from the basic werewolf. Mine has regeneration. I think mine have a little more health too. But mostly they have regeneration, and then if you hit them with the silver, it turns it off.
That was the fight where Body Knock was hiding behind the house, and we realized how good his sneak was. He literally passed the sneak test every single time.
Yeah. and it wasn't like past it. That began the theme of any time Josh rolls sneak for Body Knock. Yeah, you roll like an 18 plus 7 or whatever.
Yeah,
so
now it's absurd. Like plus 11 or whatever it is.
So my favorite part about that whole thing was when we absolutely established ourselves as a primarily chaotic neutral party because we find the letter in the cabin that Harv had written. It was a letter to Chantrell confessing that he was a werewolf. And then we look around. We've got the dead werewolf, the bodies of his comrades and followers and stuff, and the letter from Harv. We look around and we burn the fucking cabin down.
Yeah.
You committed arson. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
That was
Which
great.
is hilarious because that leads right into our next quest. So literally, the very next quest, y'all get back to Billy Talk. Y'all, tell Chantrell about her husband and everything. And then Bushi's like, all right, boys, I got a perfect quest for you. Just came in. And this was us doing our live session. So I kind of railroaded y'all into the next quest.
Yeah.
And was like, we got some boys burning down buildings up north. And y'all are like, you said north, not west, right? Like,
yeah, that was a great moment. We're like, okay, so arson is illegal in this world for sure. Now we know.
Right. Oh, man.
That's when we headed to talk to Grilda Homehaven, a 20-hour walk north of Billiatock in Summerhill.
Yeah, at our 5-hour in-person session, which I had to split up into a couple. It was just pure chaos and absolute blast.
And that's when we met Clint for the first time.
That's right. And he was the CS.
Old Clint Forrest.
Ledger.
Yep.
Old Clint Surefoot.
Clint. And Grilda and Clint tell us about everything. We talked to the blacksmith, turned her black blade. And that's when we meet Dorina, the gnome child.
Yep. That was our first adopted NPC.
Yep. She got fucked up.
Take her. They tell us that they think there's fires being caused by goblins in an old fort, Red Shield, outside of town. So Dorina wants to go. We take her with her. As soon as we get to the fort, an arrow comes out of a slit and hits her in the chest, and we usher her to safety, and that's the end of her adventuring.
Yeah,
she didn't die again.
But well, I mean, you don't know. Maybe that was the catalyst to get her to start training.
Oh.
Or maybe she doesn't ever want to get shot by an arrow again.
She's permanently maimed.
Yeah. So I had here, I was telling Seth this before you got on. I have her occupation here. She was a water bearer.
Yeah, a water bearer.
That's her current job.
And I mean, depending on the size of the arrow and her stature, it would have been about like somebody taking a spear through the shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And you just got to know it's some sort of gnarly, hand-chipped arrowhead.
Oh, coming from a goblin.
With the goblins.
Yeah. Talik starts chucking axes through the arrow slits.
Oh, yeah.
Runs up and just yoinks the portcullis straight up in the air.
Body Knock climbs the side without us and gets up there amongst them and throws a firebomb or something that he picked up.
I just do my thing sometimes.
Yeah, literally like hits one in the face with Alchemist Fire.
Alchemist Fire, that's right.
That he had just bought before leaving. Oh, yeah.
Talik got pinned in at the bottom of the spiral staircase by a goblin and 3 wargs.
Oh, yeah. That
almost went down.
Yeah, that was scary.
That was an ugly fight. I forgot about how close that was because it was like really tight quarters and Talik was down there by himself and y'all were trying to like pepper with arrows down from above.
I jumped off the balcony and took fall damage to come up behind the wargs and I killed a couple of them right out the gate once I got up behind them.
Yeah, that was epic.
Yeah, y'all, it was going really bad, and then y'all started to get some good rolls and dropped them and made short work of them.
Then we went across, and there was one of the pyres had a bunch of bats, and we avoided that whole encounter.
Didn't even fight the bats. That's when you got the oil of sharpness.
That's right.
Wow, that you held on to for like
long time, too long.
The first fuck up from the vines attacked us.
Oh yeah, the vines from the other tower.
It was like these sentient plant vine things.
Yeah, they grappled you and tried to pull you towards like a flower. I don't remember what the flower would do to you, but it was something gnarly.
And then the closest we came to losing a member of the party so far in the entire campaign occurred.
Yeah, probably the Will-O-Wisp.
Body Knock went down but not out to the Will-O-Wisp.
And basically, if it would have hit him one more time, he's
like
permadead, right?
Permadeath.
Yeah. The Will-O-Wisp, once it has you down, it wants to insta-kill you. And that's where y'all found
the blade, the sword.
Yeah, the longsword of Pallid Light,
which I'm still using,
as well as a locket with a picture in it that y'all later sold.
Yeah, I actually was listening back through that, and I was thinking, I wonder if that was a plot hole and we just sold it.
But so I looked up the vines here. If they pull you up to their flower, so keep in mind, I think y'all were still level 2 until after the Will-O-Wisp fight. And if
I think you leveled us up from the werewolf. I think
I think you're right. So that y'all were 3 for this whole adventure. But still, if the vines pull you in, then they get an automatic success on an attack from the flowers, dealing 1d4 piercing and 2d6 necrotic.
Jeez.
Y'all never actually got pulled all the way to a vine. Y'all always slashed the vines as soon as someone got grappled and escaped.
Well, yeah, I don't know what level we were for sure, but that was only our 5th session when we took on Fort Red Shield.
I know we leveled up from the werewolf because it was like, y'all just killed a fucking werewolf, so you level up. I remember something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember after y'all hit level 3, I was like, all right, the gloves are off. And Seth was like, he's going to kill us. This is what happened last campaign. We got to level 3. Then he killed us.
Funny. The Will-O-Wisp, that still is one of our most intense fights. Oh, I think it was like 45 minutes that we were fighting because we didn't grab the sword right away, and none of us could do magical damage, and it had resistance to all non-magical attacks.
Yeah, I think it is.
We couldn't hit it.
Just resistance, but it was immune to certain things as well. Yeah, it was, and it had
when invisible.
It also has 22 AC, which for a CR2 creature that still blows my mind. No, not 22 AC, 22 HP, 19 AC, which is still
19 though is high.
But that's why y'all could that was the biggest problem is y'all were just attacking. I think Talik had the best bonus at a +5 at that point in the game. So
you had to roll
14.
Yeah.
And the other guys needed a
and then
15.
it was half damage.
So yeah, it was, and it did massive damage anytime it came up and hit you. It would do
it was
2d8.
Yeah, so here I have a note that the first time it hit me, it rolled 2 7s, so it did 14 damage to me the first time it hit me.
Oof.
And at that time, 14 damage, I mean, full health. Let me see, I have it on the previous page. Full health for me at that time was 29. And I went into that fight with 25 HP. So when it hit me for 14, I had 11 HP left.
Yeah, you had 1 hit left. I remember that because you started freaking out. You were like, I have 1 hit left. If he does that again, I'm DB&O. And then that's what he did.
Talik hit it. And then the very next, right after Talik gets a hit in, it puts Body Knock down.
Jeez.
And
gave me the old one too.
Yeah. Yeah, but Talik had a healing potion. That's what picked Body Knock back up before the Wisp got a hit in.
Yeah, one thing that's been interesting with the 3 players is even against a single enemy, y'all don't just dominate action economy wise, right? Like if you have 4 or 5 or 6 players, it's like, okay, somebody goes down, they're gonna get back up before the next turn. Somebody can get to him and give him a potion. But with 3, it's like, okay, there's 2 of us now. Can either of us get to him before the other guy goes?
Yeah, you kind of run into the issue of, do you finish the fight or do you get the guy? Like,
Well, and that's where we were. Don't want to fast forward too far, but that's where we were in our last big fight. Was like, do we heal? Do we run? Do we fight back? So then we get down to the basement of Fort Red Shield, and Talik and Shadow get poisoned due to the air quality, and I'm not going to go into what all was down there because it grosses me out. Even
I remember Seth thought real life was just like this.
I had a stomach bug.
He was
like
sick.
Real life.
Yes, you were literally had a stomach bug.
I was like
describing
oh my God,
the
fish
just
guts and
fetid
nasty.
nightmare of the goblin home.
We run into 2 goblin bandoliers. That was one of the only people who have thrown explosives at us.
And damn, were they explosives.
That was epic.
So it says, with an epic effort, we defeat one goblin, and then Talik slays the other goblin.
They had like Molotovs and frag grenades, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pipe bombs and shit.
And y'all later got some very similar bombs from Leech to those.
My guy.
Which Leech is a goblin, right?
Yeah, Leech is a goblin.
Yeah. So that ends. So we end the live session sneaking into a room where we see a goblin shaman over a warg and some crazy shit. So at the beginning of the next session, we roll for initiative, and this is actually our first recorded instance of multi-attacking through like Splinter Cell style. So Shadow and Body Knock sneak up and actually shoot the shaman with arrows right as Talik throws an axe and sticks it in the shaman, and Shadow just ran into the room and cut his fucking head off. We have no idea what that shaman was capable of doing to us because it never had an opportunity.
So much aggression.
His henchmen got down on their knees and
and Body knocked the Firestone.
Jeez. Yeah. I remember specifically after y'all did y'all's initial ranged onslaught, I was like, okay, this goblin shaman has 1 HP, so he's gonna get to take 1 turn, and he's gonna just have to unload whatever the best thing he's got, and then Seth ran in the room and melee cut his head off. I was just like, damn.
So we took the Firestone, and then the henchman told us that there was a big green guy on the other side of the river, south of Summerhill.
That's when we continued being chaotic neutral, not evil.
Yes, not chaotic evil. I was going to highlight that.
Yeah, so we find a room of sleeping goblin families, and we just leave it alone.
Yep, women and children.
Y'all asked, y'all were like,
my dismay.
Y'all were like, how much loot do they have? I was like, I mean, you see a few coin pouches, laying next to some of all his stuff.
Worth it.
So we bibbity bop our way down a new tunnel, and Shadow falls through the fucking trap door into a pool of quippers.
Oh yeah, fancy
Talik just hops down in there with me.
That was like the first cry laughing moment that we had on the show when I hopped in.
Josh was just like, seriously, guys.
Yeah, that was funny. Sam goes, wait, did you just jump in? And I go, yep.
Yeah, because you just moved your Tailspire mini in. I was like, oh, that's probably just a joke, right? And you're like, nope.
So we're on our way back to Summerhill, and from Summerhill, headed down to talk to Grilda and Clint. And we're making camp, and that's when the outrageous bear attack occurs.
During the long rest.
Oh, the outrageous bear attack where you were like, I was moving all over this place.
There's no way a fucking bear would have just come crashing through the underbrush.
So we let the dice decide, and we said, all right, I'm going to roll a D8 for which part of the compass he's on and a D8 for what part of the compass you're on. And y'all were like smack dab in each other's face.
And then we rolled for initiative, and Shadow got the last turn on initiative. So right in each other's face, and Body Knock and Talik without any armor on get the first hits in on the bear. And
y'all made short work of that bear.
Yeah, that was pretty cool though, because like the whole mechanic, like we don't have our armor on. We were literally asleep. We come running out in our underwear.
Yeah,
fight a bear.
Cool. Definitely cool.
Yeah, that was pretty great. Clint Surefire, the local woodsman.
Yeah, pointed us to a cave.
Troll cave, that's right.
That we thought might have a troll in it, and might.
Yeah, he was like,
cave.
but I went by that cave last year. It didn't have a troll in it, and y'all were like, well, let's go check it out.
Yeah,
ooh, and that was a hell of a fight.
Yeah, so because it wasn't just a cave troll,
exactly.
there was also flaming fire dog hellhounds.
Direwolf.
Yeah,
things. Those things were
two
sick.
dire wolves with fire element.
So would you call them fire wolves?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can we do it like Genie and put a D at the beginning and just pretend it's not there? And say fire wolves?
I don't
Sure.
like that. I have body knock blinds one fire dog and hits it with an arrow.
Fire dog, I like that.
He used the flamestone.
Yeah.
Firestone that we had just got. That's
Firestone.
right.
And then he used the Firestone on the troll to stop his regeneration.
That's
and
right.
You can use Firestone for your next new set of tires. This podcast episode is sponsored.
Perfect
that'd be
segue.
nice. That'd be nice.
Shadow, I got caught on fire like 3 times in that fight.
The funny thing is, Talik ran right up into their face, and Shadow like kind of took cover on top of a rock, but he had threatened the troll in Giant that he was going to burn him, and so the Giant was like, "Dog, get that one first."
Yep. And Talik started fucking him up. And then Body Knock just caught everything on fire.
Yeah, that fight was great. That was one of the most dynamic fights we've had, where like y'all spread out, y'all use like different consumables and tactics and stuff.
That's when we realized that Josh was the best at actually using the items.
Yeah.
When I remember to inventory them.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't have the Skyrim disease.
Like hold on to a wheel of cheese until the very end.
Oh no, I
never
own a
use it.
whole house full of cheese wheels in Skyrim. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. So you're just special in this game.
Well, I just want to kill things.
Well, that's fair.
Oh yeah.
I've got a note here that Body Knock used the first fireball of the campaign, technically, because he used the stone to cast fireball.
That's true. Got
that
into
awesome.
that. That's awesome.
So I have a note here at the end of the 6th session that we leveled up to level 4.
Okay. Yep, that's right. So we did that whole fort at level 3, and then killed the troll and leveled up again.
Right when we kill the troll and the fire dogs, an owl comes flying down and freaks itself out when it sees what happened, and it's the druid.
Oh yeah, he changes back into druid form.
And he lets us know that he's from Copper Mountain, and he protects everything from Copper Mountain to Primern as far as nature goes. And he actually takes the Firestone with him to study, and says he's super confused by the animal mutations and is searching for their originating source.
That's right.
And that's when we head back and talk to Clint once again. He tells us about some weird ice butterflies and oil slugs and stuff like that.
And then at that point, that was kind of the end of what I was calling like guild board quests. On y'all's way back to Bilyatalk, y'all ran into some poachers trying to capture a stone bear.
That's right.
And y'all walk up to him and were like, "Hey guys, what you doing?" And like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yep. And Talik got fucking bolaed. Stupid bolas.
One of many bolas to hit Talik over the next course of the mid-campaign dealing with the
Talik got
poachers.
lots of bolas, yeah.
That poacher fight was epic, but the culmination was Shadow and Talik maneuvered this cart, and Talik ended up suplexing the bear.
A bear into the cart.
Over his head, into this cart.
And then y'all slammed the cage on him.
Literally says Talik suplexes the bear into the trailer.
Yeah, that episode is called Bear Suplex.
Yeah.
As it should be.
And then it says Body Knock notices the bear swelling. Oof. And then says there's like a sub note that says Shadow knows the bear is going to explode. And it does!
Yeah, I think in the end, Shadow and Shadow and Talik took it. Body Knock was far enough away that he didn't take the damage.
So the horses on the cart get killed, and Talik actually was brought down to 1 HP.
Yeah, he would have gone DB and O.
I would have gone down. I had my
Right.
thing, Relentless Endurance or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then we got the location on the poacher's map. And at this point, this is the first time Shadow goes into a blind rage
about the poachers in general.
But yeah, so then we go to the poacher camp.
Yeah, y'all went straight there. Y'all found a little map on these guys, like a old school for any whippersnappers listening to this channel. Back in the day, people would take a little notepad and you would draw just the important roads and write the names of the roads on them to tell someone how to get somewhere. But so y'all found like a little map telling you how to get to the camp that they were clearly going to take this bear to. And yeah, snuck up on it, and it was full of all kinds of exotic animals.
Mm-hmm.
Had gaseous pigs and fire-tailed goats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, later y'all didn't see any of those at the beginning, but there was like oh man, what was the cat that was there? There's some sort of weird cat.
I don't remember a cat.
Yeah, because I just narrated at the end of what y'all released.
That's right.
So y'all took on the poacher camp. During the poacher camp fight, again, body busted out lots of items, but y'all got Captain Shankblade's shank. It was the first, I think, +1 weapon.
Yeah.
Because at the time, the Longsword Pilot Light did not do +1.
Yep, we killed little leader, Captain Shankblade. Seth got a very special thing. He got his horse.
My horse with the stripper name or whatever.
Starlight, the beautiful steed. Oh, and y'all met the squirrel.
And we met the psychic squirrel.
You met the psychic squirrel. You let him out of the cage, and then immediately tried to kill him after freeing him because you didn't like the way he probed into your mind.
Yeah, I was about to say, he wasn't not innocent in that moment.
That was kind of the first weird thing that happened with Talik. He had a voice in his head that would not allow the squirrel to take his mind over.
You can say penetrate, Taylor. It's an
adult mind.
Penetration.
Yeah. So
okay, so then we head back to Billy Talk.
And then the next thing was you found out that there was another poacher camp after relaying all that to Bushi. He's like, I just got reports about something similar. You should go see the Baron about it.
Debilia.
So you met Baron Debilia, got your doggy.
Yeah, we got back to Billy Talk. Talik went to the stables and bought a horse. And then at Baron Debilia's, Body Knock got Jeffrey, his war mastiff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Baron Debilia is super pissed about the poachers.
Y'all went all the way out to the other poacher camp.
Oh, yeah.
By Heathertone, fought more werewolves, and Taylor and Talik did get bit this time
and
contract lycanthropy.
I'm cursed.
And we encounter Clint Surefire again.
Yes,
and that is when we realized that he had been helping the poachers, and that's when we had our first player-to-player contested strength check.
Yes.
As Shadow tried to kill Clint right there in public.
Yeah, and Talik tried to stop him, or did stop him. And then y'all took Clint with you to go scout out the next poacher camp, but it had been destroyed by the time you got there.
That's right.
Burned to ashes. So then you went back and told that to the Baron because you got a tip from Clint and the ledger that you found in the burned down one, and all signs were pointing to the grotto. And that's when you started putting the pieces together that you had to get there. But the problem is nobody knew how to get there, and it's invitation only, even if you could find it. So you couldn't get in. And in comes Leech.
An old crime buddy.
Something that Josh had written into his backstory is that he had this acquaintance named Leech. And so y'all beat with Leech, and he's like, look, guys, I don't even have enough connections to get us in there. That's like, you're talking high tier stuff.
Full of shit.
Well, but is what y'all do is you go to old Granny Gobs.
Yeah.
And she sends you on some sort of trippy vision quest.
And we did 3 solo sessions.
And we did some solo sessions. Y'all each got some weird interactions with some NPCs that seem to be tied to y'all's stories in various different ways. And then when you came back, y'all all got something weird from your quest, some sort of item that didn't really seem to have much mechanical benefit, but was something you could hold on to. But Leech got you all tickets on his vision quest, whatever he was doing. You can only imagine.
I don't remember getting an item.
You got the Sunstone.
The Sunstone. That's where I got the Sunstone.
And Talik got
I got a dragon scale.
Ancient green dragon scale.
From some mysterious guy who claims to have given me gifts. And that is when my powers also started to reveal themselves.
Yeah.
Magical powers.
Bodyknock got a new Speak Scroll case.
From Donatello Muccinelli.
Donatello Muccinelli, a mysterious benefactor.
The fantasy Italian.
The fantasy Italian.
So right after we get the stuff from Leech and we start heading towards the grotto, we're staying the night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Talik first transforms into a werewolf. And Shadow throws out a lion out of the roast bag of tricks, takes it over with beast sense, and chases Talik down. And Talik kills the lion. And then Shadow and Bodyknock is like, oh, well, let's just set up camp and wait.
Yep. I show back up all bloodied and tattered with no memory of what happened. And then we make our way onto the grotto.
And man, the grotto was a good time. I was nervous because at that point, y'all had done a little role playing here and there and stuff. But, mostly you had been able to solve your problems through violence. And I was like, man, if they just attack the grotto head on, this is going to get ugly. But y'all did a great job. Y'all schmoozed your way through, used a little bit of espionage, came up with some really good ideas that didn't pan out because of some bad rolls. Leech.
Yeah. Leech spilled the ink all over Bodyknock's forgery.
Yeah, his forgery that was almost good enough. He's like, here, let me help you. Missed this part. And then he rolled a nat 1 and ruined it all. Oh, man. Yeah, but yeah, y'all wander all the way up to the top where the VIPs sit and walk into what you can only assume is the boss's room, like the head of the grotto, not the boss fight. And sitting across from where the headmaster or whatever would be is this girl with flaming red hair braided down one side and loose on the other side and carrying this badass bow. She's the leader of the poachers, Ariandel Leaf Rider.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't have her last name.
We take her out. Shadow gets his first magical item, Drekben.
Exceptional effort.
Well, yeah. Taking her out was a pretty good fight. She had some pesky guards that kind of pinned you down while she peppered you with arrows. But then the whole grotto just kept pouring in through the door, and y'all fought them for. I mean, that was multiple sessions of a fight.
And then we finally investigated the room and found a trap door behind a tapestry and made our way up out of the top of the grotto. And then there was one of the most epic moments we've had with Bodyknock and Shadow.
Another Splinter Cell assassination is carried out.
That one was a Splinter Cell assassination. I mean, it was smooth.
And still, to this day, I don't know if the dwarf was good or bad.
Yeah, what was his name?
Albert Dunder.
Let's see. Yep, Albert Dunder.
Of Dunder Mifflin. He was not good.
Anybody who works at Dunder Mifflin is evil.
930 gold pieces, a decanter of endless wine, a chime of opening, dust of disappearing, Dust of Disappearance, 2 Scrolls of Identify, a Wand of Magic Detection, and a Book of Magical Items. And I don't know where half that shit is.
Wait, and the most important,
Steel.
The blunderbuss.
The blunderbuss called the Flint and Steel.
That Body Knock's carrying.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if I ever said it on the pod back then, but kudos to Abyssal Brews, who created that item and put it out there for.
It was fun to use.
Abyssal Brews.
Yeah, you got to basically use like a fireball type thing with it. Pack it with gunpowder and
pack with oil. It's like an
oil. So we found a big war map in this hidden map room, and Shadow's able to get a good grasp of it pretty quick as we snuck back out of the grotto. And that's when we head back to Heathertone from the grotto and discover chaos and hellscape.
Oh, yeah.
Whole town's on fire. We rush in and save Aubrey out of the Heathertone Inn. Throw her in the cart. Then the druid shows up, and that is when we realize the druid is not a good guy that we think. We're not sure, but
guy, like we thought he was.
Yeah. He comes down, gives a little speech about animals, and then a couple of
speech about animals.
Sludge-gators and fire bats and some kind of thunder
sonic deer. Yeah, that were like pinning you down with like those. Is what I imagined is those SWAT things that they use for like suppression, and they like shoot sound waves at people and it makes you feel sick.
Yeah,
that's what I imagine the deer were doing to you guys. Dude. What's that?
LRADs, they suck.
LRADs. Have you been hit by an LRAD?
Yeah, we had them in our unit.
So you tested it on yourself?
Yeah, you have to, like with escalation of force training and stuff.
Dang.
Like pepper spray.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're going to use it, you better know what you're doing. Yeah. Was it worse than pepper spray?
Pepper spray is probably the worst, I think.
I would think so.
Oh, I would think so too, because it lasts.
Yeah, you can turn the LRAD off and it's over.
Yeah, and the LRAD thing, and it doesn't affect everyone like the same intensity, and it's just uncomfortable and like kind of weird and disconcerting.
Oh, and then he also tells us to come find him at the Old Moon Tower.
So my note says that the druid threatens humanity and invites us to Old Moon Tower.
Hey guys, I'm gonna do a genocide. Y'all want to join me?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, so then y'all get back to Billy Talk and are conveying all this to the Baron.
And he freaks out.
And he, as a man of action, gets himself war ready by the time y'all are done with your conversation and heads off on Schnookums.
Yeah.
And Seth disclosed to me later when we were talking about it, saying that the Baron is a bloodthirsty person for getting all ready to go rescue the people in this town. Do y'all think that the Baron is bloodthirsty?
No, I thought he was a noble man.
100% bloodthirsty. Could not wait to wet his blade.
Josh, you be the tiebreaker here.
What's the what am I tiebreaking?
Is Baron Debilia bloodthirsty?
The town was burned to the ground by then.
Is Baron Debilia bloodthirsty? I don't know. He's a complicated man.
That's a yes.
A mystery that'll never be solved.
Way to not break any tie whatsoever with your diplomatic answer.
If you're listening to this, get on Instagram at D&D and Dummies. Let us know what you think about Baron Debilia.
Audience interaction solves the issue.
Yeah, make it a.
No, I didn't think it was bloodthirst. I didn't get that vibe at all.
I don't
actually defend his area.
To be fair, I have no recollection of ever saying that.
Oh, you said it. Funny. I remember it upset me deeply. I tried not to let it because I'm like, well, no, I play the character and they can draw their own conclusions. But as you can tell, it got to me.
Oh, love it.
We got back to Billy Talk and we were at the guild hall and you were working with Bushi, looking at maps.
You worked studying like maps overnight
in the guild hall.
That's right.
While they took care of Aubrey and whatnot, you like worked overnight on the maps to figure out how to get to the Old Moon's Tower.
Yeah, because Shadow's worried about his old flame and the stone giant's home at the top of the mountain range.
Yeah, his oh, you named her at one point. You better have written it down somewhere.
I don't know.
Oh.
Oh
man,
boy.
but y'all decided to go under the mountains.
And Bushi says
over.
there are mold people under the mountain path.
That became a whole thing that we did not know.
Yeah, I mean, under the mountain was
multiple sessions, 5, 6.
Oh, it was probably more than that. I mean, it's an entire chapter in the book is Under the Mountain called Thunder in the Deep.
Oh, I like it. The Kretoks were very cool. Well, the Kretoks were having issues with the kobolds. They were basically having like an underground war with each other. And Kretoks told us that, hey, they're normally not this aggressive. We don't know what's going on. So we go check out the kobolds after going through many mazes. And at one point, Shadow takes Beast Scent over his goat that comes out of the rust bag of tricks and finds all the traps. We fought a mimic.
The goat survived the scouting mission and then got cut in half while he was with you guys
by a swinging trap. We fought a mimic. Then we made it all. Oh, we avoided a black pudding. We think a black pudding that was attacking.
That dropped
invisible.
Yeah. Y'all were invisible. You'd use the dust of disappearance. Saw some kobolds get absolutely decimated by an ooze of some kind.
We make it all the way to the kobold camp, which is not their normal camp, and we buddy up to Gildnarn, and we persuade him that we're here to help, and we want to make peace between the Kretoks and the kobolds. So we go in, and they tell us that they've been dealing with something called the Furbacks that ran them out of their village, and that was just... We ended up going through... We recruited the entire kobold army.
It was amazing. I mean...
It was D&D warfare.
Literally, like, I was not... So y'all have done, any DM is going to get surprised by the actions of his players. But I should have expected, but I never expected y'all to form an army to do a direct frontal assault on the opposing force.
Quagoths.
The Great Quagoth War occurred on February 27th. Just to give you an idea of how much time passed in that first. And I mean, I just think it's crazy that all that stuff happened between July and February, and then slogging our way through this last little bit has taken months because of how savage going for the Quagoth battle to the end of book 1 was.
So after y'all after y'all did that, y'all went and
well, and that's when Taylor got Big Bone.
Got Big Bone and became honorary members. The kobolds of the Copperstone Mountains.
Yeah, I really liked that whole part. I felt like a kindred spirit with my little kobold buddies. And then, Gildnarn gave me Big Bone, which was the magical giant club, which is fucking... I love it still to this day.
So this is the type of thing that I think is cool about D&D in general, and like generally I wouldn't tell you all this, but since we're doing the recap, I think it's kind of neat to let y'all kind of see behind the curtain. I had been working on the, what we're going to do next and working on some guild board quests, and one of the guild board quests were going to be that there were going to be kobolds causing problems on the surface because their home had been overrun. Like if y'all rooted them out, but that is not going to be a thing now because y'all reclaimed their home for them. And so that
butterfly effect
is not going to be a quest. So I think that's super cool. Like that's something that you can't really, video games would have to pre-plan that. Whereas, with D&D, I can just adjust to whatever y'all do.
I do have to give a eulogy because we had our first casualty in the cave. I wrote, Fenton is overwhelmed and consumed by his wounds and passes from this world as a noble warrior.
A noble warrior and a great diplomat. He did a bunch of the checks y'all needed to convince the kobolds to work with you.
Yeah.
He got like a lot. I think he got 2 like critical successes to help usher that along.
We go back and tell, so he was the son of the Kretok leader Gold. So we go back and tell him that was like our first, I think those couple of sessions, like with the kobolds and then with the going back to, that was like the first like more deep like role play that we had. That was like emotional and
instead of just, kind of goofy,
being silly and killing. Yeah. Which I thought that was cool. That was a fun.
And that led us into our second live session.
Oh yeah, to climb the hill to
the
Old Moon's Tower.
Yep. Yeah. So we get out the other side of the caves, and we got to we see the tower, and we're going to climb the hill. And that was live. Yeah, that was epic.
Yeah, and then we fight all kinds of shit. We fight the giant crab, and
I was looking through my handwritten notes. I mostly keep notes on my computer when we're playing here, but I had a lot more handwritten notes for the live session, and I was cracking up at just all the random crabs, and there's just the initiative trackers are hilarious.
Wyvern.
Wyvern.
I had thrown a bear out, and at one point Talik and the bear just run through like a poacher camp and just slaughter everyone. Just haphazardly, and then monkeys start throwing shit at Bodynock and Talik.
We just avoided them.
Yeah, just like F those monkeys.
And then the Wyvern.
Oh man, the Wyvern.
The Wyvern fight was epic.
The Wyvern fight was scary. I was nervous about the Wyvern fight because of how much damage he does with the poison. Bodynock got hit and like, oh my god.
That thing was scary, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy, he's no joke. For sure.
And somewhere around here, either when we defeated the Quagos or maybe after we beat the Wyvern, we leveled up to our current.
Yeah, what are we? We're level 6 right now?
So I think y'all were level 6 going into the tower.
And so that's when, going into the tower, it wasn't super well known, but by that point, Talik had acquired sorcery capabilities, but at level 6 is when Shadow acquired warlock capabilities.
Yeah.
Mr. Bodynock sticking with the straight rogue, which I think's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we make it into the tower.
Yeah, we make it into the tower and have some pretty obnoxious wild combat with some vines and plants and all kinds of stuff.
I like that one because he got restrained by the plants.
Yeah, caught him on fire from the inside out.
That was cool. Right before that, though, we saw the squirrel again, the psychic squirrel that we freed in the very first poacher's camp.
Oh, yeah. He was outside waiting on you guys.
Yeah, he was like,
oh, well, the druid's out. Perhaps if you make your way to the top of the tower, he'll greet you there.
The thing that I was most afraid of, me, the player, and Shadow, the character, were terrified because we wind up face to face with the fucking Displacer Beast.
That's right. We got on the basement, kill a Displacer Beast. There was an extra
dark and shadowy.
She had some kind of dark stone.
I was listening back to that one recently, and Shadow tried to overcome the darkness with the Drift Globe, but it was not powerful enough. Mm-hmm. But then Talik used the Longsword of Pallid Light's shine, and it was powerful enough to push through the shadows. So I think that was when y'all started thinking, like, this thing's got some gusto to it.
Yeah, we should mention the Longsword of Pallid Light over time has been a little creepy. It's kind of whispering.
In the Quogoth fight, you noticed that it started causing the wounds of its enemies to rapidly decay. Like as soon as you hit them, they would start just rotting on their body.
That's right. So we kill the Displacer Beast, make it back up to the next level, and we're face to face with 2 adamantine bulls. Talik had just picked up an adamantine battle axe, so he was trying to swing away at these things, but they were absolutely wrecking me.
Everything. Bodynock got gored. I hit him with a glaive and a bow, no damage.
Yeah, y'all couldn't hit their AC, and even if you could hit their AC, they had
resistance.
At least resistance. Yeah, they had resistance. They didn't have immunity to everything, but non-magical weapons they had resistance to.
Talik was just getting hammered. We wound up climbing up the cage wall.
Mm-hmm.
Playing Nanny Nanny Boo Boo with them.
Yeah, and Shadow, I think I cast Zephyr Strike.
Yep.
And zipped down and knocked their feed buckets down the stairs.
And then I trapped them down there with the immovable rod that we had just gotten.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, we left that. It's gone.
Yeah. It's gone. That was a consumable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's still there technically. So if we ever go back.
Oh man.
Then we made it up another level and we were in a weird bedroom thing.
No. Before the bedroom was the bouncy armadillos.
The bouncing armadillos.
Oh.
So we had to slap out of the air.
Which was great the first time you did it, but then y'all decided to be cheeky and try to take a rest while you had one trapped, and they all popped out of the door. You had to do it all over again.
Terrible. Yep. Horrible.
We got through there, then we go up to a bedroom, find a candle that's ever burning, and Shadow goes out on the balcony and finds a ladder up another level.
You also found some weird, like, journal notes and stuff.
Yep, from the druid. And then in that next level, that was really weird. There's some sort of device that looked like it had subwoofers in the bottom, and it projected an image of this guy, Dr. Zaius, a monkey man.
Primate, yeah.
And he had the orb, which we need to...
Right.
It looked like he had the druid's orb that we think is the source of the power.
Yeah, the orb that the druid had when we encountered him in...
Heathertone.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that is when Body Knock got the chameleon.
Yeah, from the lab.
Yeah. Epic bow that changes based on the size of the enemy and can do all this other cool shit.
Does elemental stuff. Yeah, I was reading back over its flavor recently, and the runes are on it are not like some language specific to a race or people or anything. They're an ancient language. They're like a dead language from a people long past.
That's cool.
That's fascinating. I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, it's just a little tidbit info for your nippists.
We also got a potion of Invis, a potion of Supreme Healing, potion of Vitality. We got a spell scroll of 8th level Illusory Dragon. I don't know if we've actually...
We'll be holding out for a while.
Done anything with that?
I don't know when y'all will be able to cast that.
A Circlet of Blasting, which I think I still have.
I sold that spell scroll for drugs.
Oh. Okay. Not a bad choice.
No, I didn't let him. He tried.
Was it hard drugs or, just some more green leaf?
Sausages.
Sausages, my drug of choice.
My drug of choice, sausages. And yeah. So we conquered the riddle, which I was terrified one of us was going to get permadeath by that thing.
Man, y'all did great on that riddle. It's like a meme in the D&D community that you give people, baby riddles for kindergartners, and they spend 4 hours and make a, red web of yarn to solve it.
Right.
But that was actually a pretty long riddle, and y'all got it right out the gate.
Who is Pepe Silvia?
Who is Pepe Silvia? Exactly.
And then, so then we start the druid fight. Comes soaring in as an eagle, because when we solved the riddle, there was a portal that teleported us to the top, like the roof of the Old Moon's Tower, and that's when we fought the druid. But no druid, don't really care. The squirrel is dead.
First thing in the fight. So I got to say about the druid. So there's some NPCs that you enjoy playing because they're just full of life and vigor, like Bushi, and then there's some NPCs that I just play just because they're part of the game, and then there's some like the druid that are just a blast to play because they're just badass. And I loved playing the druid. I loved using him in the fight. I loved all the interactions y'all had with him. I'm sad that he is no more.
Yeah, we killed the druid, and
so just for the purposes of, this is kind of rolling into a recap of our last session that will lead us into the next stage of the campaign. When we were on our way back to Biliatok, we were attacked by an assassin.
Oh, yeah.
Eliana Monlier.
Some kind of moon elf.
Which, I don't know that you all know her name. I don't know that your characters know her name. I don't think she would have had anything identifying on her.
Okay. Yeah, so she was going invisible and doing all kinds of crazy shit. And
hitting you with
poison darts that were super strong.
It was a bad
They
deal.
were wyvern poison. Body Knock figured it out afterwards. He took one whiff of it and was like, oh, yeah, this is the shit that almost killed me.
So Body Knock came up with the idea to use her speak scroll. And so he sent a message saying the job is done, they are dead. And the reply says, meet at the rendezvous. And Body Knock says, I am hurt and do not remember the rendezvous. And they said in Dwarvish, which luckily I think Shadow knows.
Shadow's the only one who spoke it.
Boar. Port, boar. And so we determined later that where that was, and I can't think of it right now. But
yeah, so we can just lead that right into where we're at, because y'all came back and you talked to Bushi and Eva, and he was like, he's like, I don't know of any boars or ports, but
Overport, the drunken boar.
Yeah, he's like, there's a port city called Overport, and there's a tavern there. It's a little seedy place called the Drunken Boar, and that's all that Bushi could think. And Eva was like, yeah, but you should really go to the Golden Goose across the street if you're going to Overport. You got in a bit of a kerfuffle with the Brogucks, who is the tribe that killed
the Grugs.
The Grugs, yeah.
My whole family, everybody I know.
Yeah.
And this little crazy gnome guy that's, I guess, the leader of the guild hall appeared and calmed everybody down. And
Tormund Greybeard.
Yeah, that somehow y'all have not had to interact with yet. Bushi's been handling all y'all's stuff, but
we got sent to the principal's office.
Got sent to the principal's office. Tormund was like, look, once you join the Confluence, we're all part of the same river now. We're all flowing together as one. Where we came from gives us strength, but we are one now.
Yeah. And then we took a long rest.
And then you took a long rest, and it's the next day.
End of book 1.
And that's it. That's the end of book 1.
To be continued on the next episode of Dungeons and Dragons and Dummies. Find out what happens to our party next week.